And I just want to say thank you guys for hopping on the call tonight. I know a few people are still trying to get on and working on getting on the call. And I see on the chat there, Holly says, sorry, we get to watch you eat dinner. Hey, I know what it's like. I'm like throwing kids downstairs to watch a movie. My wife's heading over to the church to do a little yoga thing with the ladies from the church. So I totally know what it's like. When I was a brand new coach, I used to listen in on my coach Lindsay's team calls, and I was changing I had it on the TV in the front room, hooked to a little smart device, and I was like changing diapers and trying to bathe kids, like looking out the bathroom door down the hall, trying to listen to everything. So I know what it's like being busy like that. So I understand. So the important thing is that you're here and you're wanting to learn. You're excited to learn. I'm super pumped up because, as many of you guys know, we have Summit coming up in it's 22 or 21 days. I can't remember. The days are like flying by. So it's 3 weeks out. It seems closer for me because we're going on Monday to hang out with a few coaches that are coming out early. But I'm telling you, even though it's 22 days away, if there's any way that you can still make it to Summit and you're not registered, I would come. Like I talked on a few calls in the past, Summit is like playing Mario Kart when you were younger and getting on that little lane with the arrows that shoot you forward. That's what Summit's going to do for your business. So if you haven't thought about going, I know coaches that are looking to split rooms, between 4 people. So you could literally stay for $25, $30 a night at Summit. So, and Carl said on a call he did for us, the CEO of Beachbody, if I could, and I was a new coach and I couldn't afford it and I couldn't find a way, I would get there somehow and I would sneak in the emergency exit and I would be at Summit. That was from the CEO. So if you sneak in, it's not on me. So that's how important and vital Summit is. And, if you have questions about that ever, just ask your sponsor, your Upline Diamond, your Star Diamond, myself, info on getting to Summit. If you just want to glance at it, it's www.coachsummit2015.com. We have about 800 from what I can estimate coaches on our team that are going to be there. So that's it's going to be phenomenal experience to be able to hang out with everybody there. We still have rooms at our hotel. We have a hotel with 150 rooms just for our team. So we want you there. If you can make it there, we'll find you. We'll stuff you in a room somewhere. You can sleep in a bathtub with your sleeping bag and some pillows, whatever it takes. We want you there. So aside from that, just mark your calendars right now. I know we haven't talked about it on the team calls, but it's in your Coach Online office in the breaking news. We have Super Saturday, the weekend right after Summit. So Super Saturday, I'm going to give you the dates so you can write it down right now. And if you have your phone, pull it up right now, and I want you to mark your calendar. You can find out later where the exact location is. But Super Saturday is going to be the 25th of July. So Super Saturday is a local quarterly event, also a must-attend event for you to go to. It's the 25th of July, and there'll be one somewhere near you. I remember as new coaches, Brigitte Linford and I, we traveled with a few other coaches 5 miles to Boise to go to a Super Saturday and go to a training event. And it was a huge thing for us to be connected with other coaches because we were the first ones here in Idaho Falls. So it's important to get connected with other coaches in the network, and Super Saturday is a great way to do that. So if you can't make it to Summit, make it to Super Saturday at least and get connected with other coaches in that aspect. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce Allie real quick. It's kind of funny how I met Allie because her husband, Brian, was actually one of my coaches. And it's here's the thing. Brian canceled as a coach, but he had signed his wife, Allie, up. And Allie's going to be speaking with us. But I never talked to Allie. And I remember one day I was doing a Success Club report at the end of the month, giving a shout out for the 3 Lives Club, everyone that hit Success Club 5, I make a little banner. And Allie was on there as one of my PS coaches, who the heck is Allie hitting the Success Club? I don't even know who she is, and she's one of my coaches. And it turns out that, obviously because her husband was her coach, and when he canceled, I inherited Allie. So I called her that day, and I talked to her, and she had some big goals, some big dreams. She's a mother of 2. She is a kindergarten teacher, so she naturally loves to teach people, and that's what we do as Beachbody coaches. We teach and we add value to people, help people, learn and grow, and that's what a teacher does. So I believe that, she has life skills and life experiences that helps her be a great coach in that aspect. So I asked her if she would talk to us. She's very close to becoming a Diamond Coach. She hits Success Club every month. And one thing that I want to share with you about her is, like I said, she's a busy mom of two. She's a kindergarten teacher, obviously a wife as well, and she is building a business. So she wants to talk to us a little bit about time management and how to grow a business, a Beachbody business, in her words, through the seasons, like to be able to stay consistent through life's journeys, because there's ups and downs. You know, there's probably for her busy times in the school year, and then there's no school, and you know, there's kids activities and things going on with her husband. So she's going to talk to us about her story, how she got started, why she got started, and share some tips with us that we can learn and take away and apply to our business so that we can stay more focused consistently on the daily, 3 vital behaviors and growing our business. So with that being said, Allie, I'm going to give the time completely over to you. We're excited to hear from you. Here, I'll unmute you there. There you go.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, awesome. First, I'm sorry about the light. I'm in California, so it's still bright out. So nothing I can do about that. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah? Okay. All right, cool. I'm naturally kind of a loud talker since I'm a teacher. So my story with Beachbody started just about 3 years ago. My daughter, my youngest, Ellie, is turning 3 on Saturday. And so it was after I had her that I found Power 90, not P90, Power 90. It was back in the day. And I had such a terrible pregnancy with her. I have RA, which is rheumatoid arthritis, and I had a flare while I was pregnant. So I was taken out of work at 24 weeks. So basically I sat around for 3 months and did nothing. My husband stuck me in a car every day. He drove me with my older daughter to my mom's house, where I literally had to lay on one side or stand with 2 feet on the ground. I was told to be careful on stairs, don't lift 1 foot off the floor. I had to sit down to put my pants on. It was just miserable. And that's how I found Beachbody, was just coming out of just being so helpless, really. I mean, it's just terrible. And, I just took what Tony said to heart, and you do your best and forget the rest. And I kept going. So fast forward to about 2.5 years later, to January of 2004, my husband, Brian, had been doing workouts alongside me. He had actually started before me, and he was the one that encouraged me, well, just try Power 90, just try it. And there were so many parts at the beginning, I had to fast forward. I couldn't do a push-up, not even on my knees. I did wall push-ups. That's straight up. I did wall push-ups. So he wanted to do P90X3, and he wanted to do Shakeology. And so I am totally like the family penny pitcher. And I was like, you're kidding me. It's way too expensive. And so I made him sign up as a coach just for the discount. So we had no idea really what it was, nothing. So, and I told him too, this was my thing. I was like, you have to do it 3 months, because I don't want you to do it 1 month and then tell me a little bit away, oh, well, it wasn't long enough. I don't really know if it worked. I'm like, you have to commit to 3 months. So that was totally random. I don't know why I made up that rule, but at the end of the 3 months, I was ready to try Shakeology. So that's how we both ended up coaches. So he just put me under him. And in the end, it was a bit of a stretch to be doing, and we weren't building anything. So 2 Shakeology orders was a little bit of a stretch. So he ended up canceling, not even knowing what that meant for me or my business. So he canceled, and it was last year this time. I'm actually, I teach in California, and I'm one of the few schools that's still year round. So I don't have the summer off. I have 3 months off a year. I have October, February, and June. So I was actually off track last year when Summit was happening, and I had a friend that was going, and I remember Brian saying, you should just go, just buy a ticket when you get there, just go, it's in Vegas, we could just drive. And I was like, no, it sounded too weird. So I ended up just watching it online, the streaming from Summit last year. And that's when I decided I can do this. And I think all the spring Brian had been telling me this is something you could do. You could do this. And I think when I watched Summit, the opening sessions and the general sessions last year, that's when I was like, I can do this. And I just decided I'm going to do a challenge group. I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea how to run a challenge group. I went on the back office and I just said, well, they have this guide here. I'll just use that. I literally last year when I started coaching, when I started like thinking about actually being a coach and not just having a discount on Shakeology, I didn't have a Facebook account. I had a private Instagram account. And I mean, by private, I actually purposely didn't follow people. It was like my mom and my aunt on the East Coast. It was basically just baby pictures of Elle and in little pictures of Cammie, my oldest. So I had no idea. I didn't even know how to make a Facebook group. Like when I was like, I'm going to do a challenge group, I didn't even know how to do that. So I just started, and that month that I ended up being Success Club 6 out of nowhere was July of last year. And July is actually my first month of school. And I remember Brian telling me, he was like, if you can do it this month, the busiest month, because kindergarten is like crazy the first month of school. I mean, I literally have kids that walk in the door and they pick up a pencil and they hold it like this. And it's like you're writing names on every paper. You hand them a pair of scissors and they're like, I can't use that. My mommy said those were dangerous. And you're like, you're using them. So July is insane for a kindergarten teacher. And so I kind of just proved to myself, like, I can do this. And if I can do it in July, I can do it any month. So that's how I started. And I really started to believe, like, as I kind of got more into it, like, I really can do this. And I really do love teaching. But, like, I think a part of me started to feel like I'm going July 6th, I'll start my 10th year of teaching. My oldest daughter is 5.5. She will actually be in my class this year in kindergarten. And my youngest is turning 3. I just realized, like, it's so terrible that I mean, I love teaching. I wouldn't do any other job. But I spend 6 to 7 hours a day with other people's kids, not mine. I mean, this year will be different because Cambria's in my class, and that will be kind of cool. But for the most part, I spend my day with other people's children, which is fine when you don't have your own. You know, it's great when you don't have your own kids I like kids, I like teaching. But I mean, my goal now really is to retire before 30 years. Like, I can't do this. I don't think I could be a teacher and be a happy teacher and be a good teacher 20 years from now. And just missing out so much of my girl's day. Like, I literally see my youngest daughter when I am on track and teaching 2 hours. I mean, really, because she's waking up earlier now, but she's a sleeper. I go to leave for work early. I get home and she's napping. She will wake up about an hour or an hour and a half after I get home. And it's literally like if you have kids, you get the worst part of their day. They're cranky, they're tired, they had a nap, but they're hungry and they're tired and they just really need to go back to bed. And that's the part of the day that I was spending with Ellie. And that's the part of the day I spent with Cammie most of the time. And when you're running around and you're trying to shuffle kids, like, to grandma's and then pick them up, and I have a staff meeting, so I didn't get out till, I mean, this sounds terrible, 4:30, but I get to work at 7:30. So it just, as I started coaching, I started to really think about, like, why am I working out of my house if I can work in my house and be with my kids and set hours that make sense for them? So that's really what I'm about. But right now, since I'm still working, it's really about finding balance. Like, how do you, as a busy mom, figure out how to grow a business in your spare time, right? Like, what spare time do you have? So one of the ways I really do that is I kind of break up, like, we all talk about that power hour. So I really kind of break that up. So in the morning, realistically, my morning is, I usually get up at 5, and it's personal development and it's workout. Like, those are my priorities in the morning, and then get to work. Now, my school has crazy weird traffic because there's a lot of schools right next to each other. There's a junior high, high school, and an elementary all together. So what I'll do is, if I get there early enough, that's the first time I'll touch, like, messages, emails. Because if I open that up at 5 in the morning, I'll be late for work. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to kind of be where you are. So I get up, I do my workout or do my personal development. I do my workout, I get ready for work. And if I get to work before I get out of the car, if I have time, I'll do 10 minutes of messages if I have time. Otherwise, they can wait till later. So that's kind of what my schedule looks like in the morning. I'm looking down at my notes. I wrote everything down because I'm a teacher, so I have to have a lesson plan, right? So at lunch, I generally do challenge groups, and I do use the Facebook groups app, and I like that just because I don't have to get on like the full Facebook and like it's all messy and notifications and newsfeed and all that jazz. I just get on the Facebook groups app because it's super simple to just check into your challenge groups one by one, and it has this search feature so you can search for certain challengers if you haven't seen them in a while and kind of check on them. And then at that time, I will usually try if I have time. It depends on the day. There's some days where on my lunch I'm running my daughter home, so I'll try to do some forming then. And then also, this is new because my lunch, I used to teach every year we switched. So I was PM, my lunch was at 9:30 in the morning. So it wasn't really a great time to post. So I had to kind of rely on like an automated post planner or whatever to post at like a decent time. So, now I'm going to try to post at lunch because my lunch will be at 12, which is like a normal time for people. Like, and then after work in the afternoons, that's really my power hour is because I usually get home and my mom watches my girls for me and she brings them to my house in the afternoon. So when I get home, they're here, and usually Ellie is already asleep. And at that time I make Cammie do a quiet time. So she doesn't have to sleep, but she has to go in a room and be quiet. I don't care if she plays a puzzle or reads a book or whatever. She has to kind of just chill. And so that's my time to work again. And so I try to do invites, check in with coaches. I do calls at that time because that's usually a good time for most people. And so that's in the afternoon, like 3 to 4-ish. And then by 4, I need to go be making dinner. So in the evenings, actually, Brian helps me. So, and that's kind of a new thing. This spring, I actually had a really rough March. I was pregnant and I was exhausted, like crazy exhausted. Like I would come home from work and I'd tell Cammie like, okay, I'm just going to lay down for a second. And like, she'd literally be like shaking me as hard as she could, like, Mommy, I need a snack. And I couldn't get off the couch. I was like so asleep. So at the end of the month, I actually ended up losing that pregnancy. So literally March, like the whole month I kept thinking, okay, tomorrow, like I'm going to get on my invites. Tomorrow I'm going to get with it. Like, and I lost that consistency that I had built. And it was the one month I didn't end up hitting Success Club. And in the end, it was like, I kept thinking like, oh, I have one more day. And then the whole month just fell apart the weekend before the 31st. And I ended up in the ER on the 31st. I'm like, well, I guess it's not happening this time. That's awkward. I'm in the ER, like messaging people. Like, that's weird. So I'm like, whatever, next month. But, so, and in that I learned, like, I really wasn't able to do the messaging that I thought I needed to and I wanted to. And that's kind of when Brian came in to help me. Like he does stuff to help me, and he had been helping me. And we kind of divide things up. Like super techie stuff I'm not good at. Like that's just not me. Brian's good at that stuff. Like he comes from a music background. So he's played guitar and he edits music and does all this crazy technical stuff that I could never do. And so it takes him like 10 seconds to like edit a photo and make it all pretty or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay. And like that would have taken me like 5 hours. So he was already doing that sort of stuff. But when March happened and I just wasn't myself at all, that's when he really took over and started helping me with emails and messaging. So usually in the evening, it's Brian that's doing his power hour if there's messages or emails. He also usually plans posts for me. So he'll plan 3 posts a day for me. And then it's my job to kind of come up with at least 1 or 2 like impromptu posts. So that would be like an Instagram post or, and then I usually post it on my personal page on Facebook. So that's kind of how we split things up. So basically, if you see anything that looks like super amazing, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. So if you see like just a picture with like a little text on it, that was all me. But if it looks really cool, it wasn't me. That was Brian. So as far as balance, like I really think what helps me the most is just being where you are. So like if it's my time to be with the girls and to be playing, just be there and be playing, be sitting on the floor, be doing puzzles with them. If it's my time to be checking messages, that's my time to be checking messages. So that's so key to me. And especially like, even at work, like when I'm at work, I'm at work. I don't answer messages. I don't look at them. I don't check them. I don't see like, oh, did that person, I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to see it. And when I'm at work, I'm like in the zone, I'm with the kids, and that's it. And then too, like even in the afternoons, like I have time where I help my partner and pull her groups. Like it's kind of more of a, like not as intense time for me. It's more of a downtime, but I still don't do it then because you can so get lost in something. Like you just get pulled away. And then what happens is then you're behind on your stuff you need to do at work. And I hate that. I'm always like way ahead. Like I track off, and when we track off, we actually don't have a classroom. So like right now I'll be tracking back on this Friday. And I always, when I track off, have at least 2 weeks worth prepped and ready to go. Like literally pull it out of the cabinet, throw it on the counter, and I'm like good to go. But if you're checking and being all over the place and trying to do Beachbody and trying to do work and trying to, do this other thing, like you're never going to get yourself where you want to be and where you're prepped and ready to go. So just being where you are is really important to me. And that's the same reason why I don't pick up my phone in the morning and look at any of those apps. Like don't look at social media, just get your personal development in, get your workout in, and then then you can do it. And I literally had to like be so disciplined to like, and it's funny because when I'm off track, I totally lose it. And so like, I know like next week I'm going to have to hit it hard. Like don't open Facebook, don't open Instagram. You can't look at that. You got to go, or you're going to be late for work. So, be where you are. And going with that is totally turn off all notifications. Like I use, the groups app. I totally use Messenger. Because sometimes I can't be sitting on my laptop. Like sometimes it is time where the girls are playing and it is a little bit of my work time. And so I will be on my phone, but I don't have any notifications on anything. And Messenger hates it. It hates it. Every time I open Messenger, it's like, you have all your notifications turned. Like I get a screen that says that you have everything turned off. So I have all my notifications turned off on Messenger, everything turned off on Instagram, everything turned off on Facebook and on the Facebook groups app. So no badges, no nothing, no alerts, nothing in my lock screen. So that way I can really be focused on what I need to be focused on at that time. And then when it is my time to work, it's all sitting there waiting for you. Like there really has never been a message that I'm like, oh my goodness, I missed it. Like it's always there. It's always waiting for you when it's your time to work. So, and then I think the other thing that March kind of taught me was just letting go of some stuff. Like, I'm really pushing for Diamond this month. Our goal is to, with my posting and all that stuff, but to make Brian my recruits, but make Brian Emerald using my recruits. My house isn't super clean. It's okay. Like let stuff go. Like there's dust on the window seals. Like usually June is my month to kind of like get to the stuff that I didn't get to when I'm working. Like it's when the kids have their dentist appointments. It's when we do eye appointments and that sort of stuff. But like, because that's a push, like, you know what? I didn't vacuum the window seals this month. Like, it's okay. Like there's some stuff you can just not do. There's some sacrifices that I'm willing to make, and dusty window seals is one of them. I won't lose sleep because I can't, because with RA, if I lose sleep at all, like I'll wake up and my ankles will be locked up, which isn't a great way to start your workout. So my house being not as clean as I want it to be. I mean, it's still pretty clean but I'm just like a little bit crazy. So, but like, you kind of have to like take a breath and be like, okay, I'm going to let that go because I'm working on my business right now. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's important this month, is working on my business. So, I think too, like, I have Brian that helps me, and I know that other people don't have that. Like, I know there's some husband and wife teams that they both each build their own business, but Brian's actually a leader at our church, and he kind of just feels like it's a little bit of a conflict. You know what I mean? Like, so he doesn't have any problem helping me, but he's not probably going to be doing the posting, you know what I mean, until we can retire him. So who knows when that happens, if that happens before me or after me. But yeah, he helps me kind of in behind the scenes, planning posts, designing posts, and that sort of stuff. But those are easily things, like, I know, like, I'll be a Shalene here and preach, like, that you can outsource and have someone else do. Like, it doesn't mean you have to go to Fiverr. It doesn't mean you have to go to Elance, although they're really inexpensive. And I haven't actually put jobs out there, but Brian has when he's been busy and he hasn't been able to help me, because he's able to like put it in a language where it gets done right. But, you know, there is Fiverr, there is Elance. You can do that sort of stuff. And that way you can kind of take some stuff off your plate in order to still have time for your family. And then the other thing is, you know, if you can use those kind of things, or, you know, something simpler, like for me, like, we don't have a maid or a house cleaner, but that might be a next step for us, because that takes a lot off of my plate. And that's something that's kind of an easy place to kind of take something off of me. Brian also helps out a lot with that too. Like, he listens to PD and does dishes in the evening. So that's awesome. So that helps me a lot. Like, we totally have like a strict, like, I cook, you clean rule. And I always do the cooking because I hate the cleaning. So that helps. And then another thing is just automating your systems, like automating what you do. I never, until like the past 2 months, really used like a script, really. Like, it was all just in my head, like, and that didn't matter because it was always me doing it. But then when Brian kind of stepped in to help me, he was like, well, what do you, like, he was constantly asking me questions. Well, what do you do here? Well, what do you do here? What would you say to this message? And that's when we really had to kind of pull back. And he actually found the script he liked. And he was like, well, what about this? And I'm like, that's fine. And so he'll do some of the copy paste messages for me. And when we do invites, he pretty much knows the whole 5-step process now. So he'll do that for me too. But I think what made me realize like how important that was not just having Brian helping me doing those things, but also like when you're building a team, it's important, like, how are you going to build up your coaches and tell them what to do if it's in your head? You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, yeah, just do a 5-step. Well, what is that? I don't know what that is. I'm brand new. So that was really important to me. And I think it took March and getting sick and not feeling well. And it really took that for me to realize, like, okay, like, I need to step up here, because how am I going to teach other people to do this if it's in my head? Like, it has to be written down. There has to be a lesson plan. And I kind of felt before like, oh, like a script, like, that seems weird. But it's so funny when you get it right. Like, people say exactly what you expect them to say. And it's like, awesome, here's the next one. And so it makes your life so much simpler. And I feel like I was working so much harder when it was in my head, because I was like having to think about it each time. Like, okay, well, what do I want to ask them next about their, you know, their goals or their why or their whatever. Like, when you have it all laid out, it makes life easier, and it makes it quicker for you so that you can get back to your family. Because that's what this business is about. It's about building a business so that you have the freedom and the time to spend with your family, and you don't have anyone else making the rules about when you're going to be at work or when you're going to be not at work, or when you have an extra meeting after hours, even though, you know, your kid has a soccer game. So that's what it's about. And I think really kind of automating the process really helps out. And really what made that really spurred that on is I actually am pregnant again. So I've been doing the same first trimester thing over again, and I've been exhausted and I've been terrible. And that's Brian's been stepping up to help me with that. And it really has made it easier leading my own coaches, having that available, because I have a coach that's brand new right now. And it's just, she'll text me all the time, like, what do I do this? What do I do with that? And I'm like, okay, here, have this. Okay, here's your little baby step here. So having that already all done makes it so much easier to lead her. So I think it was all just a learning experience that you had to put that all together to take it to the next step. So I think that's all I have. I hope that was enough. I hope you guys got something out of it. So to recap, it was just balance, be where you are, turn off your notifications, go ahead and let some stuff go, whether it's, letting some TV time go or whatever, or even like me, like it's okay if there's a few things that are a little dustier than you like, that's fine. If you're serious about building your business, you're going to have to let some things go, take a deep breath. It's okay. You can vacuum it tomorrow. And that's it. And just really outsourcing, whether that be having, I don't care, like a cool neighbor kid that babysits your kids. You're like, here, can you edit this photo? Like whatever. I'm sure they're super smart. They'll help you.
Awesome. Thank you, Allie. Man, there was so much valuable stuff on here. I want to kind of recap some things that I learned and validate some of the things she says. But then we'll also give like 15 minutes or so where you guys can ask any questions to Allie or myself about anything that might not make sense or anything. But I love talking about automating everything using scripts. I have a Mac and an iPhone, so everything I have in notes, like the information on how to sign up as a coach, like once somebody's ready. So if I get on the phone with them and like, okay, I'm ready, I don't have to try to remember when I get home to do it. So I can just go to my notes, copy what I've pre-written already, the link and the instructions on the coach sign up, and I can paste it into their text. So I'm always creating things like that for myself to make it quicker. Same thing goes like when there's a product launch, I'll have the same script written for size and like reaching out to people, asking if they want to be in the challenge group, and then kind of the next message that I'll send them. So I do that as well, just like Allie does. And I went to, she mentioned Chalene Johnson. And, like outsourcing things, like, for example, like I'm my whole life I've been a hard worker. Like I planted my own grass. I laid my own sprinkler system without knowing how. I put up my own vinyl fence without ever having put up a fence. Like I'm that guy that does everything. So like when I started my business, I had to make those decisions to pay somebody, $15. I mean, that's kind of the rate here to mow my lawn and weed whack. Right. So I could spend that hour and a half either with my family or working on my business in that time when I was trying to build my business. So, there's things that you can do like that. I know Gabby, so that she can spend more time teaching and raising the kids, we pay somebody to come clean the bathrooms and the sinks and the toilets and the tubs and all that stuff. And so the way that Chalene does it is she says, like, as you build your business, it's important that you know this right now as your business grows. Because I've had coaches say, like, man, I have 100 coaches on my team now, and I'm overwhelmed. I don't know how. I don't even want to grow this thing to 1,000 coaches because I'm overwhelmed with 100 on my team. And so I help them understand that as you grow your income, you'll start to make a bigger income. And it's important to look at the best way that you can do that is like, as your business grows, if you're making like 500 a week and you work 20 hours a week or whatever, you do the math and figure out what your hourly rate is. And then if you can pay somebody, if you're making, let's say as a coach at that point, $15 an hour, and mowing the lawn costs you $15 for an hour, like you might as well pay somebody to mow the lawn and put an extra hour into your business. And that's the thing that Chalene helped me do. Not too many people know this, but I have 2 full-time assistants that work 40 hours a week for me doing social media stuff so that I can spend all my time doing what I love in the business, which is these webinars, creating the posts, you see in the morning, which is do my workout. Just like Allie, I read first thing in the morning, I do my workout, and then I like talk about it on YouTube or I make a blog post about it. So I do those things and then I let other people do the other stuff. So think about the bigger long-term picture like Ali said, and you can find somebody, you know, if you have like an 8-year-old, they can totally, if you push like fitness on Instagram and you're building an Instagram account, they can go like 500 Instagram pictures that are tagged with like green smoothie or something, people that are into making smoothies, you know, so that you can build you can pay them like $5 to go like 1,000 pictures, you know, whatever, to one of your kids. So there's a lot of things you can do to get more done as you're building your business. So Juliana, she says she does that, has her daughter do things like that. So I just want to validate that. And I love that, Ali, you guys notice what she does first thing in the morning? She does 2 of the vital behaviors before she even gets to work in the morning. So, you know, she's making sure that that's done. And then the first thing I noticed that she says she does after that at work is she goes into the messaging, like into the invite process, which is the 3rd vital behavior, and gets everything done from there. So thanks, Ali. You are awesome. And you made me tear up a little bit because I know you've gone through some struggles. So thank you for being open to share that with us.
Oh, no problem. I was going to say we use Google Docs and Google Drive and Google Sheets, just so that it's on Brian's phone and my phone, because if I make it a note, he can't see it. So we use all the Google Drive.
Okay, I'm making that note. One thing I want you guys to know as well is part of our team. I'm working on a better automated system as well. If you guys will notice in the team page, I put a PDF checklist, the 15 things that you should have your new coach do in the first week. So what I'm working on doing is, if you guys saw today, I kind of had a landing page for this call. So I'm going to have a system like that, like for a new coach, just so you guys know, and you can use the system as well. So like a new coach, so I'll have emails that go out to them weekly, like week 1, you want to really get this stuff set up. And then on week 2, they'll get, you know, here's an important video I think you should watch, and this is what you should be focused on. So kind of an automated system to help you guys with that. And that's the stuff you can take once you receive it, you know, you can copy that and use it yourself for your coaches. So we're always working on making things easier for you guys. So I wanted to let you guys know about that and to kind of watch out for that as well. And if you haven't checked out the 15 things, I put that in our team page. And if you're a guest on this call, I'll be putting it up on Facebook probably in the next week. I need to just work on the follow-up email that comes after that initial one that has that checklist. So.
Oh, by the way, my mother-in-law does not know I'm pregnant. So if you run into her, don't say anything.
or if she watches the recording of this call, right?
I know. Whoops, she is a coach. But I better call her, right?
Yeah, you better
we haven't told my girls yet. So March wasn't the first time I've miscarried. So I'm 11 weeks right now. So we haven't told the kiddos yet. So
awesome. We're happy for you. So does anybody have any questions for Ali? We'll leave it open till about 10 more minutes. Don't be shy. Even if you're a guest, we want to hear it. We know y'all have the same questions. Let's see. I'm going to wait.
I'll ask something, Scotty.
Who do we have?
Amanda.
Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Allie, I have a question for you. One of
Sure.
the things that I kind of struggle with is during my inviting and my messaging, I want to keep the conversation going. So as soon as they message me, I have a hard time just not messaging them back and forth, you know, to keep it going. Because I'm scared if I stop and wait till the next day that I'm going to lose them.
You won't. They'll be there. The people that keep messaging you back like that, they live on Messenger and Facebook. So when you message them the next day, they'll message you right back again. So I don't think I've lost anybody doing not messaging them back right away. I rarely do that. I think the last time I did it, I actually did it last week, but it was just a friend from high school that she started messaging me and we never talked. We had nothing to do about Beachbody, but I kept messaging her back just because we were having a conversation. If it's business related, I usually just send the message. And then even if they message me back while I'm still on, I usually just leave it for the next time because I generally check messages twice a day. So you'll catch them the next time. And if they are messaging you back, they really are there all the time. So when you come back and message them either the next day or whatever, it's fine. I mean, sometimes it slows down the process, but for the most part, it keeps you sane to just be focused. So.
Yes. So I want to add on that. That was one of the biggest things that I had to become disciplined in, is because I thought I had to jump on it or I was going to lose the sell or lose the prospect. The thing that helped me realize is I related it to my real life job that I had at that time. I was the service department. So I realized that if somebody wrote an email at 4:00 for a service job and I was already gone from work, that when I came back the next day and I responded the next day when I was working, that they were 100% completely happy with the service. And I think about that, just recently I ordered a training program for some social media for a social media site, and I wrote them, and they responded within, it was 12 hours, but I would have been okay if it took them 48 hours, because I know that, people are busy, that people have lives, people have other customers, other clients, and people understand about that. If you take your business serious, they'll understand that you're working with a lot of people. And I think if you're on the whole time chatting back and forth, subconsciously it's going to make them think that you're the only prospect or the only customer that you have, right? But if they see that you're busy and you're disciplined, they'll look at you a little bit more serious and more as a professional. You guys will see, if you write me after 2:00 in the afternoon, you won't hear from me till probably noon the next day, at least 24 hours, because I'm that way as well now. And it does, like Ellie says, it will keep you sane, because if I answer, I can answer all my messages, and when I'm ready to close shop at 3:00 every day, I have 50 unanswered messages of people that responded. And if I didn't stop, it would never end, and I would always be responding to people versus going out and doing what the actual third vital behavior is, inviting new people. So controlling yourself in that aspect will keep you from talking to the same people over and over, and actually get you to go out and do that third vital behavior that I know so many people miss, which is connecting with at least 2 new people. So I always make sure I do those new invites first. I do 5 personally. And then I do my follow-up list, which I'm old school like this, like a notebook. I do my follow-ups, and then I go through and answer the message. And if they write back, I don't even check it. I just go down the list, answer each message one at a time. And if they respond right then, they're going to hear from me the next day. Barton, I saw you raise your hand.
Yes, sir. Hey, Allie.
Hey.
Being a teacher, have you created something that is not already a Beachbody product that is good to help with organization? That's one of my weaknesses, is keeping track of everything in an organized fashion.
I don't know that I've created anything new. We use Google Docs a lot, and it's pretty simple. I kind of just start making documents on certain products. That's where I started. So I put all my 21-day fix links, product links, video link, product link, challenge pack link, all on one page. So when I got to that part of the conversation, I know where it's at. I think you kind of just have to build it a little bit as you go. There's other things that I've seen that other people have made. I haven't made anything myself. Like I said, I'm not a super techie person. I would probably, you have to remember, I'm a kindergarten teacher, so I'm paper and pencil, just like Scotty. So all my notes, even today, are just paper and pencil. So our push to be more automated has really come from, it's easier for Brian and I to communicate and be on the same page if it's in a Google Doc, because then we can see it everywhere. So that's the one problem I would find, and where I would lose people, literally lose people. You'd send a message and then they wouldn't respond, and you'd forget or lose them, is because I wasn't with my notebook when I messaged them back. So that's something we're trying to work on, is doing that in Google Sheets and marking at least the date and what time part of the invite you're in with them, so that you don't lose them. Like it really, like I've lost people before. I'm like, what happened to that person? I think they were really ready to buy a challenge pack, and then you just don't follow up. And that's really where you lose people, is if you're not following up. So I think it's make a system that works for you. I really like Google Docs because it's on all your devices. So I started with notes on my iPhone, and that it didn't work as well, because then if I was working on the computer, I had to run, go find my phone. You know what I mean? So Google Docs and Sheets is on your computer. You can have it on your phone, and you can have it on multiple devices. So my husband has it on his phone. So that works well for us. I'm definitely not super, super fancy. Like Brian's better at that technical stuff than I am. But yeah, so I kind of tried to start moving away from paper and pencil, as hard as that is for me, because it's not always with me. And because I'm not always working at my computer every day, and I am working on my phone sometimes if I'm at lunch at work or whatever, yeah, I've had to kind of move away. But I haven't built anything like super fancy or new. It's just a matter of what works for you.
Like another good one, Barton, for someone that has shared about a good system is, I think I mentioned it recently, was Kendra Fletcher. She made a video on how to use Asana, ASANA, and it's an online client management where you can put your contacts, what you talked about, and it schedules for you follow-ups. So Asana, I started looking into it just about a week ago after I kept getting that question, because not everybody can do the pen and paper thing like me, the notebook, pen and paper, and stay organized on your thoughts. So that's an option for any of you guys that need a more organized system in that fact of client management, and like when to follow up with them and schedule all that stuff. So anybody else have any questions? I saw Eden talked about me selling my Xbox to get started as a coach. I want to tell you guys, I love objections. So the important thing about these calls is, like Allie told it, like her story. She talked about why she's doing this. So if you ever meet somebody that's going through a miscarriage, or you meet somebody that's a teacher that wants to actually spend more time with their kids instead of teaching other kids, you just learned a story of somebody that's making that happen. So that's why it's important to be on these calls, so that you can relate with that teacher when you meet that teacher. Or like with my story, you can meet with somebody like that can't afford their challenge pack, or they're working so many hours and paycheck to paycheck. Like when I talk to somebody about the 21-day fixed challenge pack, like for the sale this month, or becoming a coach, and there's a price objection, or they don't have income, like you don't want to be like, oh man, like it's over. Like that's what a lot of people do. I'm just like, oh man, I totally understand how you feel. Like it took me 8 months from this conversation you and I are having right now. I had that same conversation with my coach. And it wasn't until 8 months later that I became a coach, because I felt like you felt, and I was in the position that you're in. And it took me 8 months. I tell them it took me 8 months too long, but when I decided that I really wanted to do this, and I overcame the fear, I went out, and in like a week I made enough money to get started by buying Xboxes and old laptops and Wii's on Craigslist and reselling them for like a $20 profit. And I got my money, and I got signed. That's how I got signed up. So I understand if you don't have money, but if you're serious about this, you should really think about how you can figure that out. Go mow some lawns, go paint someone's fence, go take on some work if you're serious about this, and we'll work on figuring out how to get you started. So like turn it around on them. That's what I do. Like it's always just relating with them, not being scared about an objection. You guys, I guarantee almost every single one of you guys had an objection the first time you heard about it. So realize and understand that about each person that you talk to. They're having the same things in their head that you had when you first heard about coaching or Beachbody or buying a challenge pack. So if you do that, you're going to be relatable. You're going to have empathy, sympathy for people when they have their excuses or their things that are holding them back currently. So anyway, I have this recorded. We're going to end it right here. But I want to say thanks to you guys for being on the call with us today. Reminder about the Super Saturday, the week after Summit. I want to make sure that each of you guys get to your Super Saturday, get connected with your local teams, because there's power in being together. Like these calls, I know a lot of you guys tell me afterwards, like, I feel so good now. I feel better. I feel refreshed. I'm excited to go out. Summit is going to be like 100 times that. Super Saturday, 10 times that. So make sure that you get to those events. And thanks again once for coming on and supporting Allie in telling her story and sharing on a team call for the first time. And we're looking forward to learning from you guys and your stories as the time goes forward. Okay, we love you guys. See ya.